Alright guys, welcome back. Once again, I want to do a quick tutorial on gasket making. I have over the years just kind of gathered a few tools to make my own gaskets. I hate to have to buy just the whole kit for one gasket that is good or bad, that you might need to carry around as a spare. So the reason why I like having being able to make my own gaskets is that I can make a couple of these, gaskets and carry them as spares on the road, like if I need to service my carburetor or some issue, I can open it, but be, comfortable opening it, knowing that I have an extra gasket in the toolbox. So I will make a few of them and then just throw them in the toolbox, and I'll throw extra pieces of paper in there, and like just to make random gaskets. I'll carry different types for water, oil, and gasoline, and it helps a lot to carry them as those spares. I do recommend to always carry an Exacto. That helps a lot. That's one. But my favorite tools are these punches. These are like, I got these on Amazon. I want to get a better set than these, but these come in different diameters, and they're just the best at punching out holes where your bolts go through, rather than trying to do it with the Exacto knife. Cause like, for instance, this hole right here, it's so close to the edge that it's hard to do with an Exacto and hard to do it clean. And then sometimes when you do it with an Exacto and then you try fitting this in, the thread will rip it. Then you have like a potential leak there. So, and then sometimes the holes, you want to oversize them a little bit or move them over. So that's why I have this punch set, and it was something like, I don't know, something silly like $9 or $10, 9, 10, $15, but it's under 20 bucks. These are in millimeters. I don't know why I got it in millimeters, but I need to get another set. Always use a piece of wood or blocking underneath so you don't ruin the edge. And then every once in a while, just use a file and just run it through it, and you'll get, you get it sharp back again, no problem. So anyhow, here's what I like to do. Sometimes when you don't have a gasket, when I got this Solex carburetor for the 65 Volkswagen that I'm working on right now, I did not have the kit. I had to order it, took a couple of days to get it, yada yada, you know that. So what I did is I took the original gasket, which I don't have anymore. I threw it away. I should have kept it for this tutorial. But I took I put it on a scanner. So I put the gasket on a piece of paper, and I put saran wrap over it so it wouldn't get the oils on the glass. And then I scanned it, and I ran a scan. I got a pretty good cutout, of it. And then I ended up just running another batch of this, you know. And I used to actually just use regular paper as gaskets, and it worked well. Even like for oil seals, it worked perfect to have cardstock. Just typical cardstock as your gasket for like wheel hubs and stuff that's not under pressure. This just cardstock works well. So I have this cardstock, and then I started just, I retraced it, and I did a few copies. So I have here like maybe like 6 or 7. And all I have to do then is just cut them out and punch them out. And you have this was my first one that I did, but I realized this one was a little bit on the thin side. There's a little bit of there's a slight little like indifference here. There's a valley here a little bit, and then there's a little slight valley along here too. So I had to go to this roll. I have a roll of Velcro, which is pretty, it's nice and thick, so it'll make up the difference for the It'll make a good difference for any inconsistencies in the planes. So I recommend getting a little thicker. However, you gotta be careful with your float, because once you increase this thickness, it's gonna affect your float height and your valve. And obviously on the Solex, you have little little shims that you can use to change that height to compensate for that. But anyhow, yeah, I recommend also to check your gaskets. Like for instance, this one is from this kit from Napa, and you put it in, and it looked great, right? All, you know, out of nowhere, you look at it and it looks great. All the holes line up, all the screw holes line up. But look at this one. This one is it's like restricted a little bit. And if I move it even further, like so that this bolt lines up, or it's concentric, it hides it even more. That's why you gotta be careful, and sometimes it's best to just keep this gasket as a reference to be able to make more. But make sure you note that. And then, I made this one, which is a lot better. And if you put it in there, it's a lot better now. So that's why you have to be careful. Check your gaskets that you buy really thorough. Not only check them here, but maybe put them on this side and see if all the holes line up, or anything that you're missing might be compromised. So yeah, so I think I found that just Velcro paper works well. There's different types of thicknesses that you can use. Just be mindful that you might change heights on floats if you use too thick or whatever. But I think based on this gasket and this one, it's not too different in thickness. I mean, it is maybe double, but that's why this one comes with the shims. Here's one of the shims right here. So again, just be mindful that it could be any carburetor that changes the height of the bowl and stuff like that. Some don't even, you don't have to worry about that, but be mindful of that. Also, always use, like I said, use plywood for these punches, but also for when you cut, use a little piece of wood. I usually have like a little block, a piece of plywood that I carry with me on the trail. Sometimes you don't have anything but rubber, like a tire or something. You need some like flat surface to be able to create something like this. Doesn't weigh too much. It's great. You can carry your punches, do your punches on the trail. It's very useful. I really recommend to carry all of this. I have one of these kits in each of my trucks. They were so inexpensive. I bought 4 of them, threw them in each kit, and be done. The other thing that I can tell you is carry your sheet. This weighs nothing on the trail, nothing. And it's very helpful. You can use it for thermostats. You can use it for, it'll get you home, whatever it needs to be done. Carry that. Obviously carry Hylomar or the RTV or whatever, that can get you home too, but you have to wait for that stuff to set. So a lot of times it's just best to carry a nice thick gasket, maybe like a Hylomar that you don't have to wait that much for it to cure, stuff like that. So anyhow, I thought I'd give you guys a little quick rundown on how I do my gaskets, and again, I like to make extras every time I do something. Like for instance, these bases. How easy is it to make this? I usually cut out the big one with the razor, with the X-Acto knife, but then I punch these out. But you can don't use this one. Just keep it as a reference, and just make your own gaskets and throw a few of them in your kit. Anyhow, if I can think of anything, I'll add it at the end of the video, but I think that's it for now. Hope you learned something, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Alright, I did forget something. One good idea to do is when you're making your first gasket, or you know, if you're gonna take some gaskets on the trail, make your gaskets a hair bigger. Make them bigger all the way around on the outside, because that will enable you to sometimes move it around, or you know, avoid very close proximity to the edges where the gasket will rip. So if you leave it a little bit extra, you'll be fine. I mean, it won't look concourse or beautiful, but it'll enable you to allow you for, you know, corrections for the bolts. It'll allow a little bit of play when you're installing it. And if you put some, you know, sealant or anything, it'll allow for the glue to hold on a little bit better, you know, instead of just oozing and dropping out. So I don't typically on the inside, I like to keep them nice and tight, whatever the original clearances were. But on the outside, I like to leave a little extra. You can tell on here how the edge of the top of the float bowl is right there, but I left extra material around. And once you have everything running well and everything, you can always just take a little knife and then just run it along the carburetor and cut all that excess. That's easy. But you wanna just clamp it down, make sure everything's good, everything's running well, and then you know you can do that. One that benefit for that is that you can take off the gasket a lot more, and you don't end up ripping those areas where they're really close to the edge. So you can reuse the you know, in a bind you can continue to use it, or you can stack them and put them together and stuff like that, and you won't have to worry about leakages or, you know, failure points on your gasket. So anyways, that was it for the something I had forgotten that really helped me a lot in on the trail, and just, you know, fitting stuff and making sure things work, and then at the end just trim it or just leave it alone. Who cares? It's up to you, you know. But a lot of times people really get really tied up with getting things perfectly fitted to the carburetor, and then you get failure points, you know. Try to avoid that. Try to get everything working and then go in and trim it with the knife. It's real easy. It'll just slide against the metal, and you'll get a really nice clean edge. Anyhow, that's it. See you guys on the next one.